Mi sydd fachgen ieuancfol, yn byw yn ôl fy ffansi. Mae fi'n bu gaelio gwenydd gwyn ac arall yn aifedu. Nearly every visitor that comes into the grounds says, "Excuse me, can you tell me where Will Hopkins' grave is?" So I very quickly had to learn all about the story and the places that people wanted to photograph, because it's a romantic story and people love romance. Well, it's just lovely. Sad. And this beautiful song, Bugalia Gwenydd Gwyn, which comes from it. Whenever I hear that sung, tears come to my eyes. So it all has that sort of nostalgic feel to it, and it touches your heart. Anne, the daughter of William Thomas and Catherine Price, was born in 1704, her baptism being recorded in the church register on the 8th of May 1704. Anne was the daughter of landed gentry. They owned cefyn ydfa, a rich farm with extensive land. Will was the son of Hopkin Thomas and Diana Harry, and was born in 1701 from yeoman stock. Anne's father and mother died in September 1706, and she became heiress to the lands of cefyn ydfa and grew up under the strict tutelage of her mother and her guardians, the Reverend R. Price, a nonconformist minister, her mother's brother, and Mr. Richard Price, a friend of her father. Will grew up to become a plasterer and thatcher by trade, and was asked to come to the old farmhouse at cefyn ydfa to carry out some repairs. It was here where he met and fell in love with Anne. Such a marriage was not to be, however. Anne's guardians had a far more suitable match in mind. One Anthony Maddox of Cwmrysga, a lawyer, well connected, his father having been under-sheriff in 1719. Anne and Will continued to meet for some time, but their trysts were discovered, and Will was forbidden to come to cefyn ydfa. Anne was imprisoned in her room. She still managed to get messages to Will. Her servant would take them for her and hide them in a tree. This, however, was discovered, and all writing paper and ink were taken away from Anne. But Anne was a very determined young woman and continued to send messages to Will, writing in her own blood on sycamore leaves. Anne married Anthony Maddox on May the 5th, 1725. She pined desperately for Will and fell ill with her grief. Will could not bear to see her married to another man and moved to Bristol, where he worked in the docks. One night, Will dreamt that Anthony Maddox had died. The next morning, Will returned to Llangynnwyd to find Anne on her deathbed. Anne turned to look at Will when he came into the room, reached out to hold him, and died. Will never married. He died a bachelor 14 years later in 1741. The love between Anne and Will gave rise to one of the most famous and poignant love songs in the Welsh language, Bugailio Gwenydd Gwyn, Watching the White Wheat. The words for the song were written by Will. Anne was buried with her father in the chancel of Llangynnwyd Church, not with her husband's family, the Maddox, who lie in the churchyard, while Will is buried under the yew tree in St Cynwyd's churchyard. The lovers are disunited in death as in life, although the song has united lovers throughout Wales. Mi sydd fachgen ieuancfol, yn byw yn ôl fy ffansi. Mae fi'n bu gaelio gwenydd gwyn ac arall yn aifedu.